Hey guys, it's Krista Renee here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, thanks for joining. In this video, I'm going to be propagating my Marble Queen Pothos. If you're interested to see how that's done, then stay tuned. When I first received this plant, it was already full and bright in color. And I wasn't sure if it was a snow queen or a marble queen. I really don't know the difference between the two, but all I know that it was such a beautiful plant and I had to have it. As you can see, over some time, this plant has really overgrown its pot and it has darkened up just a slight bit, but overall it's still beautiful. But because it has overgrown the planter, I feel like I need to give it a slight haircut just to put it back in its proper perspective, because I don't feel that it's time to repot just yet. Not to mention, pruning your plants help with making your plant much fuller because it promotes more growth. Not that this plant isn't full already, but there are spots in this plant that could be filled out just a bit more, as you can see from the back view of this plant. And yes, I tend to have this plant facing one way, so I'm going to work on rotating it so that the leaves can be manipulated to grow in all directions. First thing first, when doing this, you always want to sanitize your scissors or pruners, which I've done off camera. So now I'm just going to cut it back just to the edge of the planter. I'm trying not to do too much of a harsh cut, but I do want it to be cut back to the edge of the planter to give it more space to grow. I know that this is a horrible angle, but what I'm doing is I'm finding the end of a node that is closest to the edge of the planter, and I'm just removing each cutting there. As you can see, this is how much I took off from the first one. I'm just going to work my way around the whole entire planter until I'm satisfied with the way it looks. Now that was the final cut. Wow, it almost looks like it's completely back to the length it was when I first received it. I didn't realize that it would be such a harsh cut, but I'm pleased with it overall. As I mentioned before, I had this plant facing the window in one direction, so it's kind of leaning towards one side of the planter, but I'm going to work on that and face it in the other direction. Now with the cuttings that I just removed from the pot, I am just going to cut them up in individual cuttings and place them in some water, let them root and create plants of its own. As you can see, this is what a node is. You want to cut on either side of the node, leaving space just in case there's any rot. You want to cut in between the two, each node, from one leaf to the next. And I'm going to do that all the way down this whole stem. As you can see, there it is. There's my first cut. Here I'm just showing you all the nodes along the stem where I would be cutting. And I'm just going to cut, cut, and cut. Now that I'm done cutting each one of those leaves from the stem, I'm going to gather them all together, as you can see here, and this will pretty much create a full plant once rooted. I'm going to continue to do this with the rest of the cuttings off camera. Here's the finished look. I'm so pleased with the way it turned out, and I can't wait to see how full it grows in the future. And here's a shot of all the cuttings that I ended up with. As you can see, this could be a very full plant, or you can separate it and make multiple. Either way, it turned out great, and they both look amazing. Give it about 2 to 3 weeks and you should have some roots and be ready to pot those cuttings up. I'm just giving you a full view of how everything looks, and I think it turned out great. What do you think? Please, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please do. Give this video a thumbs up and share with all your planty friends. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will do my best to respond. And if you made it to the end of this video, you are greatly appreciated. I appreciate you spending your time with me. And as I always say, enjoy peace, spread love, and be blessed. Hey, don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. And until next time, happy growing.